G'day, Brent Vaughan here from Multihull Central. This afternoon we're going twilight racing, or our Thursday afternoon racing that we do every week here in Sydney Harbour. Today we're going to go sailing on Pegasus, Seawind 1160 LITE, with Pete Johnson. Pete's got quite a story. He spent years at a media company, getting bored and over it, and then completely transitioned into running his own charter business that he's running here at Sydney Harbour. So we're going to go sailing and check it out. Okay. So this is Pete.
G'day.
Hey, Pete. How are you?
Very well.
Right.
Pleased to be here.
Were you okay to come on board and come sailing with you?
Please. Come on.
All right, let's do it. Pete, why don't you tell us about what were you doing before you had a Seawind?
I was in my 10th year working for a media intelligence company, and towards the end of it my father was in late stage Alzheimer's, and the company generously gave me 9 months compassionate leave so I could spend more time with him.
Right.
Which was also a chance for me to pursue a lot of things that I hadn't had time to do because I'd just been working around the clock. So I got out and saw more friends, and took up guitar lessons and singing lessons, and then one night I watched a movie called All Is Lost with Robert Redford, which is for anyone who hasn't seen it.
My wife promised never to go sailing again after watching that. But
for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's a very odd reason to take up sailing. The clue is in the title.
Yeah.
But there was, something about this guy, on his own, completely unencumbered by anyone, out at sea, and I thought, geez, that looks fantastic, and I thought, why don't I just try take some sailing lessons? So the next day I looked at a couple of sailing schools, and I picked out Pacific Sailing School, Hi Terry, probably like the plug, and I did a basic 4-week crewing course, and I just loved it, and I met a whole lot of really good people, really sort of just really engaged me.
Yep.
I was kind of overdoing what I'd been doing for a long time anyway, and I didn't want to go back to work, and so I just kept progressing through, from the basic sailing to helming to spinnakers. Then I did a navigation course, and that really engaged me. Just the theory of sailing and all the technical stuff, the meteorology.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, Alzheimer's can be about 40 to 50% hereditary, and the best thing you can do is to learn new skills and engage yourself. And I'd always loved the water, and I was just out here going, I wonder if I can make a living out of this. I was approaching 50, then I had a little bit of a health scare of my own, and the writing was on the wall. Media companies were laying off people left, right and centre, and I thought, I'm going to be looking around for a new job at 50. I thought, how can I make a living out of sailing? And
but you were literally coming into this new, like you virtually had no background in sailing.
None.
Before.
Absolutely none. I think I tipped over a boat trying to impress a girl when I was about 16. Managed to find my way all the way out, but no idea how to tack back, just no understanding at all. So completely from scratch at coming up to 50. And then I got talking to a couple of people, and just ideas started to germinate in the back of my mind. Maybe I could make a living out of sailing through a charter boat, and at that stage it was just one of Pete's famous pipe dreams. This thing that's oh, yeah, great idea, but it'll never happen. It'll get to a stage where it's all too hard and it falls over.
Yeah.
And so I did go back to work, and I hated it, and then my health scare kicked in, and it turned out to be not as serious as I thought it was, but it really rammed home to me that sort of life is short, and I was doing something that I've been doing for a long time that I really had no motivation for anymore, and I just wanted to do something different, and I thought, well, I may as well have a go at this. How I was going to afford a boat, I had no idea. So I started working part-time. I quit my job. I started working part-time for a couple of charter companies as a deckhand, just right from the start. And it was a lot of hard work. There's a theory that it's all sort of glamour, but there's a lot of hands and knees, scrubbing out decks, and toilets, and
particularly
there's a lot of cleaning involved. But look, I really enjoyed the company. I kept working through my sailing, and then I started working through some professional qualifications. I went to TAFE full time, and I did my general purpose hand, and then I did my coxswain certificate, and all of a sudden I'm this qualified skipper. And I thought, all right, well, I engaged an accountant, and I thought, can I really do this? So we had a good look at the numbers. I spoke to a couple of other charter operators who were really, really generous with their time. Let's give it a go. You know, what can go wrong? Dad sadly eventually passed away, and he left me a little bit of money, with which I could buy a boat. I'd actually already done the sums on, you know, getting a loan on a part mortgage, business loan, and I thought I could do this anyway, but that just made it a little easier. So the next thing to do was to say, okay, what sort of boat do I need? And you know, I had a look at the Seawind, and obviously they're very popular around the harbour, and especially in the charter business for a reason. You know, the trifold doors that open up everything in this kind of, you know, seamless entertainment area, and galley down, which gave us basically, if you have a galley up, quickly learn that you get a smaller galley and you get less space. Yep. So, you know, in the 12-metre range, the Seawind came up for me as, you know, right at the top of the list. So then it was a matter of finding one. You know, as you know better than anyone else, the difference between getting a boat that's already in survey and trying to bring a non-survey boat up to spec. It's got to be surveyed to a certain standard, and if the boat's not built to survey, trying to bring it up to survey spec can be a pretty expensive exercise, and even then there's no guarantee that you'll succeed. So I looked around for a couple of second-hand boats in survey. I made a bid on one, and I just missed out on it. And then there were just no others, because you know, they tended to hold their value pretty well. And I looked around, and there just wasn't another one that was in survey that had the spec I needed. And I've been coming and seeing you at boat shows and kicking tyres for a couple of years, and at that point it just became a no-brainer. You know, an extra 50 to 60 grand to buy a brand new boat, built to survey, built to my, you know, specifications, with, you know, warranties. So the next thing you know, I'd signed off on a new boat. And I thought, you know, 4 years earlier I was, you know, working in the city in a suit and a tie, sitting in, you know, meetings with people who were just talking, you know, corporate bullshit bingo, and you know, suddenly I'm on this, you know, I'm on a boat, my own brand new boat, which I could never have imagined, you know, only 3 to 4 years earlier. Fully qualified commercial skipper, running my own business for the first time, which was a hell of a challenge. But you know what they say, you know, the worst day on the harbour beats the best day sitting in an office talking nonsense in a suit and tie. So the next thing you know, I've just got this beautiful new boat, and I still come down to the marina every now and again. And I've had it 2 years now, almost exactly to the day. It was delivered, you know, in the first week of September after the boat show. And I still feel like, even after 2 years, I'm only just starting to be comfortable knowing what I'm doing. But I just come down and I sit at the boat and I just share and go, how the hell do I do this? You know, where did this come from? But it's, you know, it's just fantastic, and essentially this is something that I can do as long as I have my health until I'm 80. You know, so it's not just a matter of buying yourself a job, but doing something that I love. I can't be fired from. Not that I was going to be fired.
That's why I do what I do.
But yeah, it was just a complete change of lifestyle. You know, at a point in your life where people don't normally do that sort of thing. You know, 50 years old, thinking, right, I'm just going to go and do something that I've never done before. And as I say, I just come down and pinch myself that I've just got this beautiful boat, and I run this business, you know, taking people out on the arts. In the meantime, I've got this, you know, floating 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment with 360-degree water views.
And you get to go sailing?
I get to go sailing. I've got friends who come from overseas. I have a, you know, 1-bedroom apartment in Redfern. But you know, I have families who come overseas, and I say, look, don't book a hotel. You know, I've got a place for you right on the water, and I've done that 2 or 3 times, and you know, they love it. Family and friends just come and stay. We go out for a sail, and then you know, we get together, we race like this on a Thursday afternoon. Occasional weekend up at Pittwater, you know, you just pick up sails, and off you go, you know. You set the sails, you set the autopilot, you sit back, you open a beer and you go, how good is this? It's been a revelation.
So if running your own charter boat business sounds like it could be the breakthrough that gets you on the water sooner, download our charter startup kit today. If you'd like to see a video on the Seawind 1160 catamaran like Pete's boat, click here. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos.